Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show, where after the collision, we see through
the wreckage. Yeah, I could go longer, but
Damn.
I'll just keep. We got to keep our speed championships up.
That's a new record, folks. I think that's the longest wreckage ever, thanks to you. But in saying that, I am your host, Jimmy T. That is my tag team partner, the best in the world, the vet, Jamie Williams. And yes, you are tuning into The Wreckage right here on Hamid Media Group's YouTube channel, on the Twitch, and of course, channelattitude.com after the fact. Vet, we got to sift through quite a bit of wreckage when it comes to AEW, and but we will get into that and obviously put our sifting gloves on. But first, I guess we will.
I don't want to touch it.
News.
We need the gloves.
Yeah, neither do I. But like I was telling you off the air, man, watching this just now, I'm surprised I didn't fall asleep in my chair. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm here for everybody, obviously, to talk AEW and the wreckage. But it was a slog, dude. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I woke up early last night. For some reason, I just 2 hours before I normally get up, I just bolt upright, like, and then I'm like, well, as long as I'm up 2 hours early, you know what I could do? I could watch Collision now and not have to cram it in, you know? I can just take my time with it. And you might think that watching it in normal speed, you know, huddled up in bed in the dark, in the cold, you know, I would just have nothing to focus on but yet it felt oddly similar to how it does when I'm at work on my lunch break, fast forwarding through it. Like in terms of like what my brain retains. It's an interesting experiment how that works. I would have thought I would have got more detail, but no, it turns out this stuff, my brain just has a filter on it that says, no, keep out. There was one good thing, you know, that I liked, and I'll say it now, you know, I'll tease it now, but like, so like normally when I watch AEW, like the majority of AEW, or really any wrestling, it could be any company. The majority of me watching wrestling, as far as like the in-ring stuff and everything, it's kind of like, you know, when there's like jackhammers like near where you are and they're like working on the street and you're just like, oh my God, like you start getting a headache, you know, that's what it's like. It's like getting jackhammered in the brain.
Jeez.
But when I get to watch an Okada match, it's like someone takes my brain and puts it in a nice like spa, like a relaxing spa, and I can just cool off and just, heat up, cool off, whatever it is, and just relax and simmer and just enjoy life. You know, that's what it's like watching him for me. So at least I got one of those somewhere in all this.
Oh, man. That's actually a great explanation. It does actually feel like jackhammers, especially in the morning, dude. You know, you're trying to sleep, but you just can't because all you use. Yeah, that's exactly what AEW was this week. And like you said, for me, that was the only shining light this week, you know, when it comes to AEW. Heck, I didn't even enjoy the Kenny match, but we'll get to that because it is the first match. But before we do, let's talk some news, as a matter of fact, Vet.
Okay. Let's say, real quick, before you get in the news, let's say hi to a couple people. Let's say hi to everybody. Cold-Blooded, Zane, Labrat, Groose, Bone Collector, King of 2K24, soon to be 2K25. Thank you guys. And Aaron's asking me a question right away. He says, with the new deal TNA and WWE signed, do you think TNA wrestlers, their championship, and the show will be a part of 2K? That is an interesting question. I don't know if you could say absolutely not, but I assume that's the first news item on the list, right? So should we? Is that first on your list of items here, or like the whole?
It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask you that, but let's just talk about that now that you brought it up.
Let's just do it now.
We might as well. Let's do it. What do you think about this deal now that they're officially in bed with each other?
Yeah, I don't think anything about it at all. It's because, well, the reason, no, here's the reason why, because they didn't, first of all, they already had a deal. It just wasn't an official press release for the deal.
Exactly.
Secondly, the press release did not give us any information whatsoever. It was just a bunch of jargon and bullshit, on a press release. They didn't tell us how long the deal was for. And all they said was that it was something to get more exposure for everybody. Well, duh. Like, we don't need to be told. Obviously, that's what it is. So, as far as like what we actually know, it's only speculation at this point. So that's why I don't really think anything of it. I do know that TNA sucks because I have to cover it. So I know that firsthand. And I know that they're extremely lucky to be getting this hand up. And it's good for all the talent involved because it just gives you like, it's just something to just shake up the routine a little bit. If you go to Florida and go to the Performance Center every single week, maybe going and doing different shows, different places with different people, different locker rooms is a little bit more fun. Gives you a sense of like the old days that you couldn't be a part of now. So that's good. But this is kind of the issue. My biggest issue is the issue with the same thing that happened when the WWF bought WCW, and they were originally going to run it as two separate promotions, but it never ended up happening. And even if it did happen, it wouldn't have worked because you can't play chess against yourself. The reason you can't play chess against yourself is because at some point you have to let yourself win. And that's always going to default to the main company. So back then, just like it happened, even without a full WCW promotion, the WWF still squashed them. And that's how it was going to go anyway. If they ever did like a big Super Bowl type WWF versus WCW super pay-per-view thing, the WWF would have went over in the end all the time. That's how they did it with the when it was
the Invasion.
What was it? What was the one with Bill Watts with the UWF and
UWF? Right. Yep.
Right, and
after,
they tried to
after NWA. You're talking about with Bill Watts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. UWF.
Right, and then it's only going to go one way. And the same thing with TNA. If they ever do like some big crossover thing, they're going to make. Well, even if they try to make TNA look good, TNA does a good enough job of looking Bush League on their own. So they'll screw it up. And nobody of significance is going to go over anybody of significance in WWE. So this is just, we've even seen how that played out just with the stuff that they've had on TNA and NXT. Like you basically, the person that you send over is going to get jobbed. That's just how it is. Like, so I don't foresee anything super exciting. Because I think WWE is just going to play the hand of, look, you're lucky to get exposure, and what we do with the booking doesn't really matter to you because it's still more eyeballs than you're ever going to have. So they'll always be able to hang that over their head, right? I mean,
absolutely, you're right.
Now, as for the question about the video game, I could see that as like, because TNA has no deals in place with any sort of like, their merchandising is trash. So they would be happy to sign anything with, 2K, as like, even just to say like DLC TNA pack, like just, it's not going to happen this year because there's no time.
No,
but like
right.
By 26, like, don't be surprised if you could see a little something like that, because it wouldn't hurt WWE in the slightest to do something like that. All they need is the time to do all the diligence they normally do with the games, like scan the wrestlers, get the moves in there, the motion capture and all the assets and everything, and do all that, do the entrances, just all the stuff they would normally have to do. They're just going to need another year to get some of that stuff in. That's assuming they start right away. It could be even longer, and who knows how long the partnership is. So maybe they're not going to even do it because the deal runs out or something. Who knows? All right, I've talked enough, Jimmy. What do you think about it?
Well, no, I was going to say, to be fair, you can download cores that look pretty lifelike for any wrestler. Some people that create these things are damn good, dude. And, you can just download them anyway and, download a TNA ring and arena, and voila, you've got it. You know what I mean? So,
but there's something about that official.
That's true too.
You know,
you're right.
That official thing.
Right. Absolutely, man. But
especially the fact of like obviously, if I cared to play 2K, I know I could download a pretty good Moose probably, but
yeah,
I wouldn't Moose wouldn't be getting a cut. Like I wouldn't be supporting Moose by that. Whereas if he ends up in a DLC pack, for $7 or however much it costs, I don't know. He's getting a cut of that. So it's like supporting him, and I feel good about that. It's the same reason why I bought those figures, which are still on delay shipping. We don't know when they're going to arrive, but you'll all be the first to know. And we'll do the live unboxing on the Impact Attack whenever the Moose figure does arrive.
I'm looking forward to that, actually, as a matter of fact. But what's funny? Kenny Omega's likeness is in the game also, dude. Like from his entrance to even they announce him as Kenny Omega. It's kind of strange. I don't know how that works out, but with certain wrestlers, their likeness is in the game. It's sort of bizarre. But anyone that's been in the WWE game in the past and is not anymore, and they've gone to another company, say, their likeness stays in the game. So you can use their, like for example, FTR, right? You can use their entrance from WWE times in the game. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons where you can sort of recreate a lot of anyone pretty much at this point. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm kind of looking forward to 2K25. I am kind of bored of 2K24. I mean, I haven't even played it as much as I should have. But
it's going to be the same exact thing, shit. Right? Come on.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. But in other news, though, let's move on to some AEW news, because who was it that brought it up? Oh, here we go. It was Bone Collector. The promotion for AEW Grand Slam in Australia is completely non-existent. Dude, that is a debacle right now, like in my opinion. An absolute debacle. About it. Well, first of all, I could have sworn, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not, they came out and said this was going to be a pay-per-view initially, all right, when they first...
I don't remember.
Okay, well, I remember that's how they announced it initially, to the point where my cable provider, the pay-per-view channel, was saying they were going to carry it. Now I'm hearing it's basically a collision. Like, it seems like. Is that what it is? And on top of that, they fucked up on the timing, because isn't the NBA All-Star Game on at the same time on TNT?
It might be.
It is, and they haven't announced a different time. Like, come on.
They can. I guess they could. I mean, they still have enough time. They could move the slot if that's how it ended up working. But Australia is like, what are you guys? Well, depending on where this is like 16, 17 hours ahead of United States.
Right.
Depending on what coast and whatever. But let's just say East Coast, like for Melbourne, that's 13 hours ahead. You guys, technically.
But if you do a show, say 8 p.m. here, right, on the East Coast, right, that would be like 12 midday. Well, for you, it'd be a lot earlier. But on the East Coast in the US, it'd be at 12 p.m. It's not a bad time. I mean, when you think about it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. So, but, and the NBA would not air something that early. They would air it in the nighttime.
Right. But they're going to air it at 8 p.m. prime time in the US, Eastern time. So instead of it being live, it's going to be on delay.
Well, anyway, who cares about that? The main point is the general advertisement. Like, how much promotion have you seen for this in and around Australia or on any outlets or anything? Like, what have you seen any of this? Like, and this is in Brisbane anyway, right?
Right. It's not even in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. How far away is that? Is that another time zone Or
Well, put it this way. I'm like Florida, right, where I'm based. So think of Florida, right? And Brisbane is on the complete other side up the top. So
okay.
so we're
So
literally
Maine?
yeah, basically. Or Minnesota, say, like, anywhere up on those northern states, we're literally from one end to the other. So yeah, it's quite far. But the time difference is essentially the same though.
Okay.
It's all East Coast time.
But so the promotion for it though. Now, we've seen, like, one of the reasons Toni Storm was gone from TV so long is because she was supposedly down there.
She was
Down where? But yeah, but she was doing some promotional stuff or whatever. I don't know, but like
that, if you want to,
yeah, do you see? Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, obviously, I don't follow Australia, so you didn't see any of this, none of this.
When Big Show and Toni Storm came down to promote the show at Suncorp Stadium, which was the stadium they initially booked, right? No one gave a shit. The news outlets were there and whatnot. They'd done a couple of interviews. But the last thing I saw about any promotion here was actually in Melbourne with Buddy Murphy, because he comes back and forth and does a few indie shows in Melbourne. And, he was
Even you called him
show.
Buddy Murphy.
Oh, shit, I did too. Buddy
just
Matthews.
Just like Will Ospreay. We're sorry, Will. We see how it's so easy to do.
Well, it is, man. When you still call yourself Buddy, Matthews or Murphy, it's the same shit to me. But anyway, Matthews, he promoted it a little bit here, but nothing really. At the end of the day, AEW's marketing team are the drizzling shits, all right? In terms of where they booked the show, because they were literally, they booked to fail. They weren't going to succeed by going to Brisbane first of all. If you want to play it safe, you go to Melbourne or Sydney. I promise you there would have been a much larger crowd. I don't know if it was sold out a stadium, but it would have been a lot bigger. The only positive thing I will say about the show in Brisbane, they've sold over 10,000 tickets in a 13,000 seat arena. It'll probably look good on television at least. But you're duping your fans, man. I feel like you're duping. It's not a good look for the first time you're coming into the Australian market and it's already a big mess. Okay? Promotion-wise, it's a mess. No one knows what the hell's going on with this show now. Is it a collision? Is it a pay-per-view? I have no fucking idea, right? We don't even know if the time's even going to be official, even though Tony Khan did say it's officially that time. But the NBA All-Star Game is also on. So I have no idea what's going on. It is what it is. I guess we'll find out. The only problem is, Vet, the show's coming up pretty rapidly, and there's not long to go till that show is going to be, like, on. So let's see what happens.
That's all we can do.
Do
you think...
brings up a good point, too, by the way.
Good morning, Jeff. Do you think that... let's really quickly think about some Australian talent they have. Obviously, Toni Storm.
Right.
Obviously, Kyle Fletcher. Do you think Kyle Fletcher will get a hero's welcome, or will they play along with the... Yeah, whatever.
Well, he's from Sydney, first of all, so highly unlikely.
They hate him? I know all Australians hate each other, so I guess he's got to be from exactly that place, exactly that spot to even come close to getting a hero's welcome, right?
He's not known in Brisbane. He made his name along the Sydney indie scenes, and to be fair, he left Australia pretty young to make it overseas. So
yeah, him and his dad.
So he will get cheered because he's from Australia and he's Australian, right, per se. But I wouldn't be surprised if half these people don't even know who the fuck he is. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me because his name wasn't such a big deal in Australia.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, if you bought an AEW ticket, you probably know him from AEW at least.
Well, yeah. Assuming there's a lot of AEW. I can't gauge the AEW fan base here that well, except for when I went to the New Japan shows. I did see quite a few people with AEW hats and shirts and whatnot. So that was kind of surprising. And it was exactly the type of fans that you would expect. Women with pink hair, purple hair. You know what I'm trying to say? Like your typical AEW kind of fan base in the US is pretty much what I saw down here in many ways. What's funny about that, when I saw that, I think the people stunk that bad that security pushed me right up when I was meeting Okada, and I kid you not, everyone just looked at me like, who's this guy, right? For some reason, they pushed me right up to the top of the line, and it was a huge line, and they allowed me to go way above everyone else because they liked me, I guess. I don't know, but I found that kind of funny.
VIP treatment, man.
VIP treatment.
You know, if Mercedes Moné was there at that time, you may have gotten within like 15 feet of her for a picture.
I would so love you. I hate the fact that she does that, man, but it is what it is.
I love it. I actually love it. She's right, you know.
Well, for the most part, she kind of is.
I mean, how can you run down AEW's fan base and then say you're mad at her for that?
Yeah, I guess you're right. But Jeff brings up an interesting point. There hasn't been any new tickets sold since they moved from a stadium to an arena. So shame on them. They've done nothing to promote the show really properly. Again, Grand Slam, the Australian Open is happening right now, okay? For example, the tennis, right? The Australian Open is held in Melbourne every year, okay? Not Queensland, not Brisbane, right? But you're calling your show Grand Slam in the month of February when the Grand Slam is on in January in a different city and state. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty JoJo. So
literally. But that's that, man. So no,
okay.
they haven't really done enough. In my opinion,
they haven't done enough. Big L for AEW in Australia.
Big time. And you know what sucks though, before we end this conversation? It's going to leave a bad taste, I bet, in AEW's mouth, where they probably won't even look at coming back here for many years, if they even come back, even though it's on them. They screwed up. It's got nothing to do with Brisbane. You went to a city that really doesn't give a shit about pro wrestling compared to Sydney or Melbourne. Sydney or Melbourne's your hotbeds by a long shot. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. But if it was WWE, WWE is the only show in town that can go anywhere in Australia and pull a big crowd no matter what, dude. WCW was the other one that did that too. Even Brisbane sold out.
That's the most important thing, because I think that, and you know, this is nothing I haven't been saying for years, but it's a live event business still.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
People want to talk about ratings. They want to talk about network deals. They want to talk about all this stuff, but it's a live event business. And without the people, nobody's trying to go back and watch those old Thunderdome shows. No one will have nostalgia for that. So, or empty arena WrestleMania. So like, it's still a live event business, and WWE has somehow convinced the people, rightly or wrongly, that this is the show to be at, and this is a hot show. And when you see that, and you see it around the world, you see the backlash in, you know, the Puerto Rico, or you see you see France, you see all these other countries, you know, doing, you know, being excited, and, you know, in every arena in the US getting, you know, sellouts or close to sellouts, and everybody having a good time. You're telling the people that you will have a good time if you go to this show. Who cares about the stories? Who cares about the wrestling? You're going to get to sing and have a good time, right? So that's the most important thing. To take it to like a macro perspective, what is AEW offering you the illusion of? Like, they're telling you get to see wrestling matches, but you get to see wrestling matches any wrestling show you go to. So what AEW can focus on is like, what about coming to see Dynamite? What about coming to see Collision? What about coming to see a pay-per-view? What is it that you can get here? You know, it doesn't even have to be different than WWE. It just, what is the atmosphere that you're going to come into here?
Right.
If they can figure out that, they might start picking up a little traction. But it doesn't look like it would be fun to sit in the crowd and see a long taping session and hear Tony Khan come out and try to pump you up with Time Cop and all the other stuff that you do. Like, that doesn't seem like the fun thing right now. So I think that's probably their most important challenge that they have to tackle, is figuring out what do we offer when you come to our show? What will make you feel like you got your money's worth when you go home that night?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, what you said is right. I guess having a good show is what you'd get. You'd feel like you're getting your money's worth, obviously. But look, man, I'm sure they're gonna. I'll use this term lightly. I'm sure they're gonna hit it out the park, right? I hope. But if the card is piss weak, it's gonna leave everybody with a bad taste in their mouth, and it's gonna alienate their fan base even further. And like RBV says in the chat, he says AEW Grand Slam will air instead of Collision on Saturday, February 15th on TNT. This is effed up. Lol, it is effed up. It's become it felt like a big show. I guess they've got heat with Australia now and Brisbane because Brisbane embarrassed them, dude. It's as simple as that. They could not sell shit at a stadium. I don't know what made them think they even had a chance in Brisbane, let alone anywhere else. But I guess they got cocky because of All In. And even All In, if they were in England for a third time, the crowd's just getting, it's dwindling. They're not going to get what they got 2 years ago, man. Simple as that.
They've seen it.
They've seen it. That's it.
They've seen your act.
It's as simple as that, dude. It is what it is, man. But it is, like I said, it is what it is. But you know what, Vet? Honestly, we've spoken 30 minutes about 2 news items, and honestly, dude, there isn't any other real news tidbits other than those. Like,
really?
Nothing serious. Yeah, man. Everything else is pretty much, put this way, I'm sure you don't give a shit what Eric Bischoff thinks about WWE taking a shot at AEW during Penta's debut.
Nope.
Right? Or updated lineup for next week's edition of AEW Collision. They
updated it. Okay, good, because I was worried
right now in terms of news. Right. Oh, yeah. Let's talk TikTok, like TNT.
Yeah, TikTok is a huge social media platform that has now been put on hiatus because reasons. So I mean, it doesn't really. To me personally, it doesn't matter, but a lot of people use TikTok as the main platform to which they then branch out to other things, because you could just post TikTok to X and Instagram and everything else that you want. So you just make the one content on TikTok and then spread it everywhere. A lot of people in wrestling use that to their advantage, and it's going to be kind of like, it's going to be kind of lame, to not have one of your revenue streams working for you. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, even when, as you've seen Big Ray you may have seen he posted, or if you were on TikTok yourself, you would have seen the thing that it actually says when you try to log in that President Trump is working on a solution. Like, it tells you that.
No way.
Like,
bro.
on the screen, like, yeah. So like, we're hopeful that we can find something to, and I presume that something will happen, but
oh, no, you will get it back, dude. 100%. He's not going to be fair. It's just politics, man.
But it's pretty damn crazy. I wonder, there's got to be ways to like circumvent it. Like, if you could get like just a VPN, so it's like, yeah, I'm not in America, so my TikTok, like,
well, you can get around it. It's called a VPN. Thank me later if you really want to, like,
right.
Postings. Anybody can get around. It's not hard, man. But you will get it back officially anyway. And Trump will do some sort of deal and whatnot with China, as he says, with TikTok. But yeah, I was shocked. I thought it was a troll. It was all over my newsfeed. I'm like, really? Why would America do that? I think because the US is not known to do shit like that. You know what I mean? Australia is known to do shit like that. Not the US. But so that was kind of surprising. But other than that, man, everything. Genesis is on tomorrow too, by the way. And today,
or tonight, as it is here,
right? And here, because it's Monday morning now, and it does have NXT in the actual Genesis promo. So
could be some surprises, Jimmy.
There's got to be a few. I mean, they usually don't do that, so we'll see what happens. I'm even intrigued. I mean, even Jeffy's intrigued because he's going to buy the pay-per-view, it seems. So we'll see. Maybe their numbers will go up thanks to WWE. But, yeah, that's the news, dude. And I'm sorry, there really isn't much more to say other than repeating myself from previous shows that I did. So if you want to hear other news, particularly, go tune into the Smack Attack with me and the Professor. Broke down some news over there, obviously. And that's that, man. Or the Impact Attack or I Like a Raw.
Yeah, just check out everything.
That's it. Exactly. But in saying that, Vet, I think it's time we put our sifting gloves on because there's a lot of sifting to be done.
Oh boy, is there. Well, the first thing that we have is Wednesday Night Dynamite, which is Maximum Carnage Edition.
Ooh. I mean, I hate these. You know how I feel. Every week is a gimmick. Can we stop already, please?
No.
God. And they had the gall to promote Dynamite like it was a pay-per-view like card. Yeah, right.
Well, we'll be the judge of that. I mean, they did bring Taz back, so it must be big.
He was back. He was back 2 weeks ago, and then he wasn't last week for some reason. And here he is again.
Yeah, he's here for the, I guess he's here to stay now, I guess. When they say he's back, I think that they mean he's back. So,
dude, this had the show and the setup remind me of old school ECW in a way, man, with the building and just, it doesn't look good. You're right, man. The perception now that they're in smaller buildings, it's just, it doesn't feel right. Yeah.
I told you. The only reason it looks even remotely okay is because they have good high quality like production shooting,
Right.
Like with the lighting and the cameras and stuff. Cause, like I said, when TNA runs this kind of, it's so bargain basement and terrible. And they always have audio issues on all anything that they do that's live. There's some audio screw up. So that's the difference. But other than that, it looks very much more professional on AEW's part. But I guess, to your point, and that's what I said, and you guys were here when I said it. I said, be careful what you wish for, because even if you look at people's social media posts to see that the empty arenas are, like they got the hard cam side and everything, and you see how empty it is. Yes, but the majority of people really aren't going on social media to look up AEW arena photos. They're just, if they watch the show, it looks like there's a decent amount of people in the building. That's how they shoot it. And when you don't do that, you can definitely see how small the arenas are. So I don't think it looks as bad. This particular venue wasn't as bad as the esports from Arlington, where they did all those shows for a month. That looked really small. But, this definitely, like you said, it has that, for better or worse, intimate feel.
Very intimate. Felt like a Shotgun Saturday Night friggin' show in some ways.
Also, that the weird, like in the upper decks where they had like
a cage.
Yeah, it looked like a cage, and the way the lines were horizontally on the cage thing, it made it look like there was even less people. Because it accentuates the difference, the distance between where people are sitting. So right. I thought there was just like a bunch of empty seats, but it turned out that's just the way it looked. It was like an optical illusion that made it look like it was less full. So right. There's that.
I felt the same way. I couldn't stop looking at that every time the camera was panning. I was just looking at that like, that looks weird. It almost looked like a VIP section in some ways, but I doubt it was.
Yeah. So, but obviously, if they knew, like if everybody knew that they were going to get to see the Machine Brian Cage versus Kenny Omega, obviously they would have been cramming people in the fire aisles there to standing room only for this place. You would have got 16,000 people in here if we had only known, if we only had enough time. Man, if only we had time.
If only. Can I say about Brian Cage quickly? Is he looking overly too big at this point?
No.
Okay.
He could always stand to get a little bigger.
I do like how he's kind of like a rabid Wolverine suddenly, like the way he's kind of acting, even though he's still a loser though.
He also looks like a lazy Wolverine because his hair's growing out and his beard's growing out, and he's not like sculpting it. He should be, if he's trying to do a Wolverine gimmick, he should like do the chops, like really
he did
shave it like Logan would, like I think he should do that, which he has in the past, but right now he just looks like he's sort of given up on grooming and focused on lifting.
No, I agree. RBV actually brings up a good point. Both AEW shows this week were here in Cincinnati, in his neck of the woods, obviously. Instead of Maximum Carnage, they should have dubbed it freebies and seat fillers. They ran from a modern designed music venue. It looked like a club, I'm not going to lie. That's why I said Shotgun Saturday Night, because you know how they were running out of nightclubs and shit? It did give me that vibe, especially with the seating, what you pointed out, just off the opposite end of the hard camera side. It gave me that real nightclub feel. But yeah, thanks for that information, actually, Rick.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you kind of know how this goes, One Wing Angel. But I will say that in a different sort of, I guess if you saw this match on paper, say 2 years ago, you probably would have thought it would have looked a lot different. Instead, it looked like a big guy beating up Kenny Omega and Kenny Omega selling for the majority of it.
It's true.
And then he made a comeback and won. So that was more like a traditional pro wrestling match rather than two get your shit in guys getting their shit in. So props to that, I guess. Like, you know, Kenny just telling the story of, oh, my guts, you know, like that's going to be his story going forward now. And he won't have to work as hard because he'll be selling. And if he's in there with guys that look like Brian Cage, it'll be a lot believable. So good on them for that. Any other thoughts on the match before we get into the post match?
Honestly, you know me, I was a big Kenny mark, and usually I'm always all eyes on a Kenny match. For some reason, the power of the phone got to me during this match.
Wow.
I was concentrating on it for the most part, but the last 2 minutes of it, I was like, I've had enough. But Kenny does win via the one-winged angel, as he always does. And please, that damn theme song is drizzling shit.
Has anybody put that song over yet? Anywhere?
Nobody. Oh, there was a couple of idiots that did because of Final Fantasy. That's how everybody puts it.
Really?
Oh, it's Final Fantasy music. It's disgusting music, all right? Please. Get that shit changed. Go back to your older theme. It's much better than this shit.
Well, anyway, so Kenny wins, and then the Callis family gets heat back. Then Ospreay runs out. And then Takeshita, for some reason, gets his own music. He doesn't come out with the family. They play his music, and he comes out with the belt. And the first thing he does is he gets in the ring with his belt, and he holds it at Kenny. Like, look at this belt I got. And Kenny just punches him, which is like, yes. What is he? What the fuck was that about?
I was cool with. You shouldn't even be staring at it. Just punch the motherfucker, as he did. So I'm cool
what is
with
this new Kenny Omega? This new post diverticulitis Kenny Omega is starting to do things that he should have done 20 years ago. I guess better late than never. But anyways,
he's a smart
eventually
man. Doesn't want that AEW heat. That's what it is.
I guess not. So anyway, eventually the family though is too much, and Kenny and Will are left laying. To be continued.
Are we going to get a new mega powers of AEW between Ospreay and Kenny against, they've got the same enemies, right? So it's like a friend is a friend of an enemy, whatever the shit goes. Is that what we're getting? Do we really need to see these two get together against the family? I mean, come on. But whatever. It's going to be high-flying, spectacular shit, I guess, right?
I'm just going to say something here, and you might think I'm crazy at first.
Uh-oh.
But I see the idea.
No, I absolutely. I can see it. I get it. But
the problem is the entire atmosphere around everything that happens is not getting these guys over to the point that a superpower team-up is that interesting, because everything is rushed and everything is simple and it doesn't mean anything. Can you imagine at this point, right? Like even let's say another year from now, can you imagine if CM Punk and Drew McIntyre had to team up? Like, how interesting would that be with their story, the way they played that angle, right?
Right.
These guys' angle is nothing but we had these matches where we tried to kill each other and sometimes a screwdriver was involved. Like that's
Right,
the extent. That's the extent of the depth of it. There was never any real reason. There's no like underlying like psychological reasons or professional reasons for anything. It was just like, hey, you were good in New Japan and I was supposed to take your place. So now we don't like each other and I'm going to kill you with a screwdriver. That's not storytelling. That's just hot-shotting. So if this had been properly done, I guess this moment could be a little bit bigger, but it's not getting carried off, I think, the way Tony envisions it in his mind. It's not playing out that way.
I think he might have thought that they did do segments, but they haven't. You know what I'm saying? But Jeff brings up a great point. Wasn't Kenny versus the Elite where he left off? The Bucks beat him up and he faced off with Okada, but back to the Callis family, stupid. It's true. That's what was going on when he was on TV the last time before last week when he made his comeback. He got beat up by the Elite and then nothing. That's what they do in AEW. I just want to point out one more thing, though. Todd, I'm sorry, man. You are the comment king, but I'm with Zane on this one. Penta's entrance music was great, in my opinion. Just saying. I don't know how you felt about his entrance music, but
I don't remember what it was, so it couldn't have been awesome, but I'm sure it felt good at the time. Yes. Because I didn't have a problem with the debut, so I assume the music was fine. Anyway, let's move on. Let's not worry about, AEW storytelling because we're an a la carte program, right? If you like exactly. Kenny and Will together, then you're eating. If you don't care, then you're starving. We get a Hurt Business, Syndicate vignette. And then we get a New York Minute. What I took away from this New York Minute with the learning tree is 1, Cope is a dope. 2, Harwood is no good. And 3, Wheeler is a kneeler because he kneels to the learning tree.
So you saying he's a pillow biter? I'm just saying.
I didn't say any of this. This is all the learning tree.
Yeah, and wait till Collision, speaking of dopes and copes, but we'll get to that. I can't stand Edge at this point, or Ledge.
Cope.
So
dope.
Dumb, man. Actually, if you watched his interview with Chris Van Fleet and trying to explain the Cope thing, he's a fucking idiot, straight up.
He's a fucking idiot. What was this guy ever not? I feel like he wasn't always an idiot somehow, but I don't know.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, so one funny story about Edge that I remember hearing when I got to OVW, because either I think people told me about it, and then I heard Rip Rogers tell it himself. But when Edge was coming back from one of his injuries, he was down there working out, right, and he was going to run the ropes, and he had his sneakers on, and Rip was like, "You should put on your boots, because if you're gonna get in the ring, you should wear your boots." And he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna run the ropes," and he's like, "I'm just saying you should, and whatever." So he didn't do it, and he ran the ropes, and he rolled his ankle in the ring.
Cope, you're a dope. Straight.
Yeah, so he's been dumb for at least 20 some years. If he was ever smart before that, I don't know, but hey, shit. Let's do like Justin Roberts tells us to do, and let's show some love for Ricochet.
Oh God, let's. And this went nowhere. I hate that fake smile of his, dude. Why does he do that?
Wait, since when do announcers tell us who to show love for?
I have no idea.
Randomly.
But he's the fakest dude on this. He's literally, if there's a definition of AI, if there's a person that was literally AI, it's him.
You're talking about Justin Roberts now.
Justin Roberts, I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Do that smile again, because you do it exactly like him. Yeah, that's how he looks every time, dude. He's got no, I don't know, man. He's got no expressions other than that. Like, for real.
Josh says, wonder if Cope was dropped on his head as a child. Well, I don't know, but he's been dropped on his head as an adult for plenty of times.
Shit.
Speaking of shots to the head, I mean, it's not a shot to the head, but who comes in to greet Ricochet with a little bit of love from a steel chair is Prince Nana.
Nah. It is.
He's like, how about some hot coffee, huh? Whack.
I hated this segment, dude, because we really didn't hear nothing. Nothing was done other than, what you just said. And then we see Swerve come out. Ricochet runs off like a dweeb.
With the chain.
With the chain, right. And what? What was the point of this segment, dude? There was not even back and forth.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to say when you've been stabbed in the head with scissors. I think words are over now.
I guess you're right. That's a good point. But still, give me, some... Ricochet didn't say shit. There was nothing to it afterwards. It was just done and dusted. That's it. And we're going to have a match, and then we're done. There was nothing to it. That's how it goes in AEW.
Well, again, you're like working backwards because you have scissor attack and then you have wrestling match, so it's like this is the hot shotting in reverse. But the hot shotting damage is always done first,
Right. Exactly.
So it's like, yeah. Anyway, so instead of that, let's not think about that. Let's concentrate on a day in the life of a CEO. Jimmy, did you want to live this life?
Oh, yeah, clearly. I was so jealous. I mean, she's such a big star. Did you see her? She was on TV. She was signing autographs. She was actually standing next to a fan. I didn't say fans.
Nice.
I said just a fan. And yeah, she's a CEO of professional wrestling, clearly.
I love it. No notes.
And money. What did she say? Money makes the world go round, or whatever she said in the promo too.
She ain't lying.
Well,
tell her when she's telling lies.
Well, she can't spell money properly. All right.
That's her name, Jimmy. It's on her driver's license. It's on her yes, of course. Yeah. So, all right. Next we get the Hurt Syndicate versus the Briscoe Party.
What the fuck, man?
So now we got MVP put the boots on.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. And can I just ask, though, this was the trios match, but isn't the House of Black the trios champions? Or did those bouts go missing?
I think they're missing a guy.
That's what I'm asking. That's why I'm asking. They haven't acknowledged this anymore. So what's going on? Are we leading to a trios champions with the Hurt Syndicate?
I hope so.
I hope so too, but who are they going to go up against?
Then again, no. And we'll find out in a little bit. But as for this was just the Hurt. This was just the Hurt Business beating people up. And I'm sorry that Mark Briscoe had to be a part of it, but at least he didn't get beat in the match. So,
Yeah, hallelujah. That's why the shots in Private Party were there in the first place. Your tag team champions, mind you. And look how they're being built as absolute nobodies. They can't even get a win, dude. And they're champions.
Well, remember when they beat those two no-name guys last week? That's a win.
Oh, whatever. Okay, I guess.
Strong win. Strong win for Private Party against the two guys from the indies that don't work out. Yeah, so anyways, if you just want to see the Hurt Syndicate do stuff, this was great. Mark Briscoe's always great. I love him. So I was eating here. I didn't pay as much attention to it as I could have or wanted to.
I wonder why.
But I have a tight schedule sometimes, and so that is why.
All you need to know, Vet, is that they hurt people. That's it.
Oh yeah, they do. I mean, even MVPs, he went in there and he hurt people like himself.
Seen the amount of padding he's wearing, for crying out loud? God damn.
I don't care. MVP's awesome.
Jeez.
You ain't gonna get me to say one bad thing about MVP, bro. Not on this show, not never.
I love MVP too. I like all three of these guys, to be fair, including Mark Briscoe. So 4 of them.
Yeah, we like a good percentage of these guys here.
Right, exactly.
Like a good 60-something%. So we don't like the Copers because they get a vignette next. Not going to talk about it. Then Jeff Jarrett comes out, and
oh boy,
Jeff Jarrett comes out. He is immediately interrupted by MJF, and then this turns into a back and forth between these two guys. Now, there was some good insults in this. Like, they had some good material.
Right.
But the difference between MJF and Jeff Jarrett is night and day, because Jeff Jarrett, even heel Jeff Jarrett, like, he has no bite on anything he says, no teeth. Like, it's just your heat with Jeff Jarrett has to be just because you just don't like how much of a smug douche he is, but there's no sense of like viciousness. It's all still just like that. He's still the rhinestone cowboy from '94 with the light up horse in many ways. Like, when he gets angry, I don't believe it. You know, like, it's just, he can't get that, I guess, for lack of a better term, edge, you know? So
he's never really been like that either, to be honest.
No, he never has. And this would be the time, like, where it's like, at this point in 2025, if I'm watching Jeff Jarrett, show me something I've never seen before to show me why you're still here. You say you have a rejuvenated passion. You said that in a promo. Even if it's not true, make me believe it's true. Show me a different Jeff Jarrett. Show me a different side of you that even after all this time, we've never seen like a real Jeff Jarrett. He still seems like the politicking, you know, Jeff Jarrett, the easygoing Jeff Jarrett, even when he's cutting MJF down with some good lines, but the line, like the way he says the lines has just that tinge of, I'm just working, you know, like so that's my only complaint with this.
Whereas MJF is the total opposite.
Right. MJF almost like, I feel like he's too phony. He could be realer than he is.
He's too phony because he does the cheap heat things, dude. Like, it's easy to like say what he said. Anyone could do that and you're going to get a reaction. Do you know what I mean? But at least he says it like he means it, though. That's the difference between himself and Jeff Jarrett. Yeah.
But anyway, so basically they go back and forth with some personal stuff, and you know, I guess MJF was at least at this point, not like nice enough not to bring Jill into it yet, but Owen is crossing the line. You can't talk about Owen because Jeff Jarrett's gonna start doing some Tennessee punches if you say Owen's name. So and then Karen gets in the ring and MJF quickly holds her hostage so that he can escape, which I also thought was a good move.
Right, it's a typical heel thing to do. You know what I mean? What he did, like your old school type of heels too. So kudos.
The Macho Man. We'll call it the Macho Man.
Exactly. It is the Macho Man behind Elizabeth. Spot on, Vet.
Did Gorgeous George do that with his valet? Did he play? I don't remember. There's not as much footage of him.
Yeah, it's before my time, to be fair, Vet. Not that I've gone down the archives to watch some Gorgeous George matches. But sure, I've seen a couple of his things over the years, if not a bit more. But I don't recall that. That, to me, is the Macho, as you said, man.
Okay. Next is this interaction backstage between Okada and Ishii, and I was like, when did this happen?
Promo.
When did it happen, though? Like, don't we watch all of AEW? When was this?
I have no
Was this
idea.
Backstage at World's End or something? Like, what?
It doesn't matter because...
When did this happen?
Tony Logic is... You should know when this happened. This goes back to New Japan days, obviously, right? That's why you should know. And I don't want to get it twisted because his promo on Collision was something else, and we'll get to that, you know, with the start of the show. So sometimes I might get confused with here to what happened on Collision.
No, this was where the match originally came about. They were telling you that this match is going to be on Collision this Saturday, but they were showing like them talking backstage, and I was like, but when was this from? Because they were saying it was not like part of Dynamite. They were showing it like it's something that already happened, and I'm like, when did this happen? I don't know.
I have no idea, and I don't recall ever seeing that, which is ironic. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I have no idea. Maybe it happened on Shockwave. That doesn't exist yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So Christian comes out for his entrance and he gets jumped by Hook because they realize, first of all, Hook wouldn't wait. Second of all, he's not going to get the pop on his entrance that we want, so we're just going to have him jump Christian. That'll be a pop. That's the real reason. But anyways,
Right.
they have a match. Did you like the my personal favorite part of the match was the hugplex, where
that was great.
Christian's like, bring it in. I'm your real father, and goes for a hug, and Hook gives him a hug and suplexes him. Yeah, it's good.
And it was a throwback to his daddy too, with the belly to belly suplex. So I love. You know what? This is one of the shining things on Dynamite. To be fair, man. As a matter of fact, I like the way that Hook looked in this match, because they're starting to, when they get it right, he looks better. It's better with him just to do less talk and more fighting, more action in the ring with him. You know what I mean? Let his fist do the talking and let him improve on his actual talking, because obviously his talking is still, pretty bad.
You talking about Hook?
Hook.
It's not that it's bad per se, but you got to manage it.
Definitely. Actually,
speaking of managers,
be good for him. Sorry to say.
That's funny you say that, because Patriarchy come out and Shibata comes out, so they're both get their backs of their respective wrestlers there, so they're in the corners now involved. But ultimately, when Christian gets caught in the red room, before instead of tapping out, he's like waving the guys in, and they just Nick and Kip just jump in and hit Hook and cause the DQ. So that's a good finish there. But then we get a big return and a save, complete with entrance music. So I guess maybe this guy would not have shown back up if this beating didn't happen, but because the beating luckily happened, we got to see the return of...
Go, Vince, say it. Who's the return of Samoa Joe? That's what
Yeah!
That was cool, I guess, right?
Samoa Joseph.
I was thinking. Samoa Joseph. I just want to say, the only good thing I did like about that is the fact I wasn't expecting it. I literally wasn't. There was no news or anything like that. That was actually talking about him making a return, and he looks like Samoa Joe. Like, he hasn't put on weight, he hasn't lost weight. He's just Joe. But do you think him being involved in this storyline sort of taking him down a peg?
I mean, I don't know. No, because technically this storyline somewhat revolves around the AEW Championship, because Christian always has that damn goofy contract thing. So
right.
it's sort of semi-main event if you think about it that way. But
but he's never going to cash it. I feel like he's never going to cash it.
Doesn't matter. If he's a threat to cash it, it's main event.
Can I ask, does it work exactly like the Money in the Bank? Can he cash it whenever he feels like it?
How the hell would I know?
It's a serious question.
Is this something that people have won before? I don't even know if this is
absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't think
so. I don't know. I feel like he's threatened to cash it in before at times, like in the middle of other matches. So maybe it's like a Money in the Bank. But
right. I guess.
Anyway.
Someone in the chat, can you tell us if you know? I want to know.
Yeah, and Todd, just save the because AEW, because we already know that. We're just looking for real answers here. So then we get a vignette about the Casino Gauntlet, and then we get Renee with Jeff Jarrett, and then Dustin Rhodes comes in, and bless Dustin Rhodes, he cuts this promo. He says he's 110% behind Jeff, but unfortunately for us, he's also 110% over the time that it took that he needed to say all this, because he just kept rambling and repeating himself and not knowing when to put a period at the end of a sentence. So it's kind of embarrassing there for a professional of his caliber, but
it is what it is, Vet.
All right, now it's time for the women's Casino Gauntlet match. We already saw men do this. Now it's time for women to do it, because women can have a Casino Gauntlet match too. It's 2025. Mariah May, the champion, is on commentary for this. Statlander and Hater come out to start this thing. Then we get a surprise that everybody was like, who? But Megan Bain showed up. You want to tell the people who Megan Bain is?
Well, she made a name in Stardom, and she was in AEW. You know, she did have a match previously. To be fair, that hype was already there before the show aired. There was hype about her debuting again in AEW, so it was no real surprise. But man, she looks like a specimen, dude, for real. Like, it looks just her persona, and I don't know what her persona is, but just the way she looks, man, she looks stunning, dude.
Stunning. Wonder Woman.
Has she signed with AEW? I'm hearing reports that she did sign with AEW now.
I don't know. I guess. Is this the way they want to debut her? So she signed and this is the debut?
I guess.
Okay. Well, Dark Julia comes in next. Then Willow comes in. Then Toni comes in. Then Harley comes in. And then some stuff happens for a while. And then Toni Storm gets that sneaky inside cradle on Dark Julia. So apparently all her dark powers couldn't let her kick out of an inside cradle. So there you go. Toni Storm is going to be the number one contender for Mariah May's AEW Women's Championship.
I wonder who's going over when that match happens, right?
I do wonder.
Jeez.
And then now we have the main event. It looks like there's been enough talk. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. And it reminds me of another World Championship bout we've seen before. Tyson Holyfield. Because Jon Moxley got his ear munched in this for some reason and decided to bleed all over the ring.
Dude, how much blood was all over the mat, man? That was... I'm assuming he really bit into his ear. I mean, that looked pretty legit.
He was just like, just do it. Just do it, dude. Hobbs like, I don't want to do it. And he's like, do it.
For sure. Why would you want to bite someone's ear? Like, seriously. Especially a sweaty, cheesy smelling fucking ear, bro. Fuck that.
Isn't that DQ?
Well, wait, was this match no disqualification?
I don't know. I can never tell.
I was going to just assume that this was no DQ. But you're probably right. It probably was a normal match, but you could have fooled me. Not just that. Can we just say he got embarrassed in this match, especially at the end when he went for the roll-up and his G-strings hanging out of his ass?
You're talking about Moxley?
I'm talking about Hobbs. When Moxley
Hobbs.
Done a little schoolboy pin. But
how does your G-string hang out when you're wearing a singlet?
Good question. But it did, bro.
Oh.
He pulled his shorts down, so I guess it's not a onesie.
Huh.
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't think about that, but now that you brought it up, yeah, his G-string was his ass cheeks were full blown out for everyone to see.
Not a, luckily I didn't pay that close attention, but I did notice this, so that obviously the Death Riders are going to come down and do a lot of interference.
Right.
And then that's when Mox tries the roll up because it's like, okay, now I think this was right after Marina hit him with the suitcase, the belt suitcase, right? She hits him with the belt suitcase and he rolls him up and then he kicks out. So there's your false finish. Then he goes for his Death Rider DDT, kind of. He doesn't lift him up, probably because he can't, and Hobbs won't go up, but also just because he was going to kick out anyway. So he didn't do the full vertical Death Rider. And then he just does the Bulldog choke, and then that's good enough. And then they're about to, then they continue the beating on Hobbs after the match, sore winners as usual. And they actually Pillmanize the leg of Hobbs with the chair. And that's when hold on, Jimmy, I'm almost done and then you can talk. that is when, right after that, like as soon as they break his leg, that's when Adam Copeland's music plays, and then he can run down with his buddies and save the day. Like, be sure to hit his music first, and wait till they break his leg, but then go save him immediately after that. So you weren't watching the whole time. You didn't see all the interference from the Death Riders on poor Hobbs all by himself out there. You weren't just waiting at the curtain to run out there, or you couldn't have run out there earlier when they started cheating. But you waited until he broke his leg, then said, hit my music, I'm going out, and then you saved him. Good job, guys.
But that's all right. It gets better, though, Veb, because he's got, he must have, metal legs, dude, because there's nothing wrong with his legs come Saturday night on Collision, obviously.
Well, we'll get to that, too, but, for now, we're supposed to think his leg is very, very hurt.
Oh, but I forgot. They taped that show on the same night, which is even better.
It's even better. So imagine sitting there.
He got embarrassed with his G-banger and then this. Whatever, man. Cope is a dope. That's all I'm going to say. He's got a
Harwood is no good. Wheeler's a kneeler.
Wheeler's a kneeler. Hardwood is a flopwood. And friggin' these guys are all just clowns. Top guys out. Or is a flop guys out? I have no idea. It's one or the other at this point. Sorry, Prof. I know they're your favorite tag team, but god damn it.
I'm sure at this point the professor is changing his mind. Like there's gotta be another tag team accidentally better.
Man, yeah, he really he does. And credits, hats off to him for actually still sticking by him. But man, Daxon and friggin' and what's his name?
Wilson.
Will Wilson and Harden. I don't know, man. They're just both dopes hanging out with Cope.
Well, everybody that they attach themselves to is let them down in one way or another, apparently. So,
well, FTR, fuck the revival. I mean, that's what they say, right?
That's what it's supposed to mean. If anybody even remembers that, you know what? Let's just go to Collision. Collision Carnage. Collision Carnage, Jimmy.
Collision Carnage. They did call it that, didn't they? God.
I mean, it's still Maximum Carnage, but they just Collision Edition, I guess. So we start out with the promos.
Right.
The promos like we like. We got that going
like
for
this.
us.
Kudos. Yeah. Actually, continue, and I'll get to that.
Well, I was just going to say that the people that do the promos here are the super group. Right, which is of course the Copers and the other guys. Who is it? The Outrunners and
the Outrunners. Actually,
and Hobbs.
The Outrunners actually did both of them did great promos in this segment at the start of the show. I felt them two were the only ones that shined, and I'm not being biased. I truly mean that. Whereas Cope still looked like a dope because what did he say exactly? He said something. Oh, yeah, listen to me, Moxley. Shut up and listen to me. He wasn't even talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are you telling him to shut up for when he's not even there? Like, come on, man.
I guess he assumes that wherever he was probably talking to somebody at the time.
I mean, come on, just think. I mean, I know he's had one too many hits to the head or some shit, but come on, man. Think before you speak because it doesn't make sense when you say that and they're not even there.
All right, then Okada did a promo.
Great promo, dude. I didn't know he could speak this much English because, like I've said, he no-sold me, the motherfucker. But to be fair, his English must have improved tenfold, man, because it has. He's never been able to do this many sentences, especially cutting a promo, and he was clear and direct, man, and you understood what he was saying. I actually thought that's very good of him because I do feel like he must be taking some sort of English classes because he has improved by a long margin, dude, compared to the other times I've seen him trying to talk English.
Yeah, and well, plus, I mean, look, you're just gonna be in America more. You have to with the people around because they don't speak Japanese, so he's gonna have to get it. So, but I'm sure he's been doing it since forever, dude.
He's a freak, I'm telling you. He knows sells it. Most Japanese wrestlers actually do that, man. To be fair, they act like they don't actually understand, but really they do.
Yeah. And then we get two guys who supposedly know English, but I can't say that these promos were any better, really, was Daniels and Hangman. They're both rambling about their stuff. But their match is next. It's a Texas death match.
Oh, boy.
So, I mean, you with a Texas death match, you're gonna expect some certain things. And I guess this match got it. We had barbed wire. We had tables. We had barbed wire tables. Because you know how you just have that. Sometimes you just need that barbed wire table, and
Yeah. But when we in Cincy,
yes.
So why is this a Texas death match?
Because they didn't want to have a Cincinnati chili match.
Okay, I guess that's the logic. That's cool with me. Whatever, I guess. And boy, was there a lot of blood spilling in this match too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely Daniels was gonna get busted open, but it was. I mean, like, as far as these matches go, which I never like any of them really, but I felt like for whatever reason this one just. It's not as bad as some of the ones that Hangman's usually involved in.
Man, I still didn't enjoy it like I should have.
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's good. Don't get me wrong. Don't you dare get me wrong. But I'm saying, how many of these type of matches do we see?
Every week,
and we're
man.
so sick of them. So slowing it down a little bit with this, I thought they didn't do anything like outrageously stupid considering everything. Yeah, they did some things they maybe shouldn't have done or didn't need to do. And this whole match didn't need to happen in the first place because nobody thought Christopher Daniels was going to win. So if that's the case, it almost would have been better, I think, for everybody if somehow Christopher Daniels did win, because if the whole idea is that Hangman is so unhinged that he doesn't care, then what the hell is a win or loss? And what would make him more unhinged is losing to some guy that he called washed up.
Yeah.
So,
and then you put him in a pool of blood, like at the end of the match for losing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or just whatever. But it'd be even better if Christopher Daniels was in a pool of blood and still beat him, because it's like this is all I have right now. Christopher Daniels, the character of Christopher Daniels, is like what I have right now is my pride as a man, and that's what I'm fighting for. And you are out of your fucking mind because you're obsessed with being the AEW champion, and you're getting further and further away from that because you're insane. Right. And why would somebody like that be able to defeat a focused veteran? I just feel like it could have done more for the story they wanted to tell if Chris Daniels went over, but apparently they didn't agree. So we got what we got, which was the obvious finish, which is a buckshot lariat to the back of the neck. Oh, it's different because it's the back of the neck. And then Christopher Daniels is laying there in a pool of blood, knocked out, possibly paralyzed, getting checked on by the doctors. And Hangman goes up the ramp, thinks about it for a second, remembers he's crazy, goes back, hits Chris Daniels' finisher, the angel wings on him, and leaves him even more laying in a pool of blood, getting checked on by doctors. Because he's crazy, guys. He's crazy.
He's cray. At least we got old school Christopher Daniels theme and all. Like, I'm talking about Ring of Honor Christopher Daniels. Not that anyone cares, including myself. But if you noticed, his theme song was from the old Ring of Honor. His look, like that priest look, he's also really from Ring of Honor, even compared to his TNA days. He was more, that's more associated with Ring of Honor. But again, I don't care about Christopher Daniels in 2025. He still looks good. He can still go. But why do I care? But
for something like this, I almost did. That's my point. Why do something like this and not get the full value out of it? It's
because
a la carte for a match that had barbed wire and tables in it. I hated this one less than I hate most of the matches that have barbed wire and tables in it for whatever reason. Not saying it's good, but perhaps because of Christopher Daniels and his psychology or his slowing things down to a point or whatever. Fine, but I've spoken my piece. So anyways, as far as like the Texas death match, because like Bruce was saying, why have a Texas death match when you're nowhere near Texas and the guys are not from Texas? And furthermore, they didn't do a Texas death match. They did a last man standing match, because a Texas death match, you need a pinfall before the 10 count. So they didn't do that, and they never have, and they never will, because everybody's already called them out how they do the Texas death match wrong. If they start changing it now, it's going to look like they're just listening to what the fans' criticism is. And we all know they need at least 8 to 9 months to do that. So, Tony Schiavone brings out Toni Storm, and her childhood dream is about to come true. She's gonna wrestle for the AEW Women's Champions, and she says she's never met Mariah May. So next week, she's looking forward to meeting her for the first time on Dynamite.
Can I ask, Vet? Are they stalling with Toni Storm right now? Is it getting to a point where it's taking too long for her to snap back into timeless Toni Storm?
No,
because surely they're gonna go that route, right? You don't think so?
The answer is no. No.
So you think they're going to stay with this gimmick as an excuse for her to be back as the original Toni Storm?
It won't be until she defeats Mariah May for that championship that she'll reveal that this was the role of a lifetime.
Right. Oh, yeah, I see where you're going. All right. I hope they go that way. Let's hope so, because if they don't, my God.
I think so. But then again, that's an idea I had, and how many of those line up with what AEW does? So
I know,
don't get your hopes up if you like it. If you don't like my idea, then don't worry, you won't see it. Wednesday, they interviewed the Hurt Syndicate right after their match, and MVP thinks that it's just about time, because Bobby Lashley's never had tag team gold, and he thinks it's just about time that the Shelton and Bobby get those AEW tag team championships. Do you agree, Jimmy, that it is time for the Hurt Syndicate to become the AEW tag team champions of this world?
Yeah. Yes, with a capital Y. Absolutely, man, because what has Private Party done since they've been champions? I'm not saying it's their fault.
Right, really, obviously.
It's not.
Well, they beat those one guys, but other than that.
That's it. That's all they've done, man. So, yeah, absolutely, man, it is time, because at least it'll be more interesting with them being tag champs.
They had one solid defense against guys that didn't get an entrance.
Bro. Can you believe that shit? Like, how do you book them so
actually
bad,
can't believe
dude?
it.
Yeah, I know. It's sad, though, man.
Can you believe this? Shane Taylor Promotions is back on Collision against the Undisputed Kingdom in a trios match.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Who won?
Oh, God. Duh. Duh. You know who won.
It definitely wasn't.
You're not gonna let the small. You mean to tell me that that the three malnourished white dudes? You mean to tell me you thought they were gonna lose to like a trained champion grappler and like two guys that used to be in the military?
Of course they.
You didn't give those professional looking guys a chance, did you? The captain? You thought the captain was going to take a win here?
Come on, look at that. They're called the Undisputed Kingdom for a reason. Yeah. They're killers, bro. They beat everybody. Doesn't matter how
they beat everybody. Well, except for after they won this match, as Shane Taylor got in the ring and beat all three of their asses by himself.
Doesn't
Like
matter,
there was
dude.
that part, you know,
Doesn't matter.
there was that. But then, for some strange reason, Shane Taylor leans over the ropes and starts yelling at Fatty Magic.
Yeah,
And I was
what's
like,
up with that?
"What? What are you doing, Shane? Get away! Don't talk to him. Your stock is lowering as we speak, and it can't go any lower." But yeah, he starts yelling at Fatty Magic, and then he acts like he's gonna get in there and do something to Shane Taylor, and then Daniel Garcia comes out, and then Daniel Garcia does the reverse Shane Taylor and beats up all of the Shane Taylor promotions by himself. And then the Undisputed Kingdom is back on their feet and they run a train on Shane Taylor.
I don't know what to tell you, Vet. This is just bullshit. No logic and just dumb. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like,
Wait,
clearly... Go for it.
but here's the logic, Jimmy.
Oh, please. Hit me with the logic.
The Undisputed Kingdom, they looked at Daniel Garcia's TNT title.
Ooh.
Like, hey, one of us wants that.
But who? That's the $1 million question. This is just a joke, man. Fuck these companies straight up. And
Lab-
the way they get
Labrat says, did Cole drop hats and gloves? I think so. He got a much shorter, much more emaciated team now.
Ooh, yeah, literally. I mean, come on, man. Like Aaron Ben Shlomo says, he has a headache just hearing this. Yeah, same here, dude. I can't wrap my head around it. You know what I mean? But Todd says, hey, at least it's GCW tonight. I mean, is it any better? I mean, let's be honest.
These guys. I think a hotter feud than anything AEW's got going on right now is Todd Brantley and Zane Vicious. Like, I think that's the hottest feud right now. I don't really think that anything AEW can top that right now. So we'll just keep on, following this here. And then we'll move on to Alicia. Alicia's here. Remember Alicia? She works here.
Does she?
Yeah, she's with Will Ospreay. And Will Ospreay's like, Kenny, I'm calling you out on Wednesday, mate. And okay, who cares?
Cool, bruv.
Okay, now, big important tag team match right now. It's the Murder Machines.
Ooh.
Okay, do you know who these guys are? In case you've never heard this name before, because I didn't.
I have heard of that.
Okay.
Actually, I think.
Okay, maybe I just forgot. Murder Machines, which is Lance Archer and Brian Cage, versus Top Flight. Top Flight with the jobber entrance. Even with Layla Gray out there, they still got no entrance. And this was a jobber match because the Murder Machines, for once, you would think, oh, so hold on. You said Lance Archer and Brian Cage against Top Flight. So Top Flight goes over in 15 minutes, right? No. Actually, no. Actually, they kill Top Flight. Bad. And that's pretty much how you'd expect it to go.
It was a crash landing from Top Flight, put it that way.
Yeah. And then they were like, well, the Murder Machines from the Callis family are like, well, that was boring, and they leave. And then the Koopa kids come out and actually it's Action Andretti coming out the entrance, but then from behind, Leo Rush, got him. And then they beat him up and frog splash him.
Oh, God. Man,
now, why wouldn't Leo Rush leave the Koopa jacket on with the frog splash so that the spikes would go into the Martin brothers?
Can you imagine that?
Don't you think shouldn't he do a coffin drop with that jacket on?
Absolutely, but I guess I don't think like you do, Vet.
Nobody thinks like me. Do you guys realize I'm a world treasure? Forget a national treasure. I'm a world treasure. I'm the best in the world treasure, and the wrestling business doesn't deserve me.
And you know what? They should come out to the Cooper fucking music, do that.
Yeah, just
and they go,
yeah. How good would that be? The remix, the trap remix.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Come
I
on,
bet.
guys, get with
Oh
it.
my God, Jimmy. I don't want to have to ask you any favors because I know you're a busy man. But what if you remixed? What if you did a trap remix of the Super Mario Brothers underground music?
Do you dare
Huh?
me? And then I'll send it to him too. I'll say,
Oh my God!
worry,
Be like, why aren't
I
you
don't want
using this?
nothing.
Be like, yeah,
Don't
that wouldn't
tempt
get
me.
you heat. All right.
Oh boy.
Lexi is with the learning tree, and they're not so much worried about their opponents tonight. They're more worried about Moxley, who's supposed to be their partners. Now, if you guys remember, in this super 12-man tag, this is the Death Riders teaming with guys that aren't the Death Riders for the first time. So Jericho's basically telling Moxley, like, hey, you and I have a history, you know. He doesn't bring up Mitch the Potted Plant or anything, but he basically hints that they had a history and says, you better watch it, pal, or something.
Someone needs to bring out a Mitch plan of sorts, man. That would totally bury Mox at this point. But nope, of course not. I guess Mox wouldn't allow that to happen.
No, never. And then we go back to Lexi right away. She's with Daniel Garcia and the Underground Kings. And they're like, hey, why don't you take us on in a match or something? And Fatty Magic is like, you guys want the new father? You guys want the new father? So if you guys were missing a Cool Hand Ange on paternity leave,
Please.
I'm sure you want to see this guy straight off the couch, right?
I hope he's got a
With his switchblade comb.
straight out of the 50s. Oh, come on, man.
Fuck.
Come on. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I don't want to see it. I don't care. Just, yeah, that's enough. All I know
is Ruby Riott better keep her mouth shut because she doesn't want to do anything that'll piss off Swerve or Hangman or any other people that have been known to visit houses. You know, while Cool Hand Ange is back on the road. You know, you don't want to put the baby in danger, you know? Just keep your mouth keep your mouth shut, go radio silent. TikTok's already off the table, so you don't have to worry about that.
There you go.
Max Caster is yes. Max Caster is in the ring. He says he calls out his best friend and partner Anthony Bowens. Bowens calls him an edgelord piece of shit. Daddy Ass tries to come out and settle these boys down. And then Max says that the problem is Billy and that Anthony has to choose. You want to go with me, the best wrestler alive, or washed up Billy Gunn? And yeah. So obviously Anthony makes his choice and then Max Caster leaves the ring, cutting a promo sounding like Morty from Rick and Morty. He's like, you know, Anthony, I don't think I need to be out here with you guys anymore, you know? And then
suck.
Yeah, Anthony and Daddy Scissor in the ring, and everybody's happy except for Max Caster. I loved Max Caster in this.
You know what? I agree. I actually did like this segment, but it's going to lead to nowhere. It's going to lead. To a match,
yeah, but a la carte, it's just what we needed. He's a breath of fresh air. Anthony Bowens, with all due respect, he basically was just sitting there in the ring screaming, putting himself over, like saying, I'm a 5-tool player. First of all, I don't know if he can name the 5 tools in baseball that refers to. Second of all, no, he isn't. But that's fine. He's got some tools, I guess. But he's basically saying I could be the AEW champion. So good luck with that.
Struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. But, we'll see. Like, I want to see where they go from here because there was no violence. And the way Max is acting isn't like typical wrestling heels. So I'm more interested to see what he's going to say and do next.
Right. But you know what, man? He wasn't wrong either in his promo per se. I was kind of hoping that Bowens would have actually turned on Billy Gunn. You know, like, I know it would have been kind of like, you know what I mean? But at least, like, even at the end when they were scissoring each other and Hustle was at the ramp. Even then, I was hoping. Part of me was hoping he turns now. Like after they sees up, bang, hits him from behind, and then we got a heel acclaimed.
Or why not? More free booking. It's too late now, but whatever.
Yeah.
Or you could have just had Max leave and not get an answer. Like he could have sat there, and you see Anthony Bowen's like thinking like,
right,
and then Max is like, well, you took too long because you should have just answered me right away. So anyways, I can see you're not serious about this. So I'm out of here. I don't have time for you guys anymore. I got other things to do. I got albums to record or whatever. And then he leaves. And then Billy's looking at him like, were you really not just going to pick me? And then Bowens is like, and you leave it like that. Because then it's like there's more intrigue. This didn't do really anything. So whatever.
Don't again. You're thinking logic, and you know what, man?
I'm not going to stop thinking logic. It's been 4 years. You guys know me by now.
Watching this show almost feels like it can dumb you out, dude. Like for real. Like sometimes you feel like it can just dumb you out, and this shit is a good example. Not that it was bad, but they just could have put a little more effort into it, where at least you can stretch out the storyline a little more. But they like to blow this shot in 2 seconds, obviously, AEW, and don't think about the future. They just think about the now. And that's the issue with this company.
Well, speaking of the now we're with Lexi again, and she's got Swerve Strickland. And she says something about like, you and Ricochet have been playing this cat and mouse game, and I was just thinking, Lexi, cat and mouse, like he got stabbed with scissors,
right?
And then he swung a chain at him. So if this is cat and mouse, then the cat and mouse are itchy and scratchy. There's no way that this is like, that's not what the phrase cat and mouse means. Cat and mouse means you're like not doing things to each other. You're trying to, and you're not.
Just chasing, right?
Yeah. If you just stab a guy with scissors, that's just all cat. That's all cat right there. There is no mouse. The mouse is dead. Mouse is dead and eaten. So that's not how you use that phrase, but whatever.
That's all right. It's all right because Swerve hangs around with 50 Cent now and Travis Scott and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What was that? Was that golf or what was that?
It was a golf, some sort of golf event.
It was either golf or just a regular cookout. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But,
the only thing that, I don't know. The only thing that made me question if it was golf was the lack of white people. So I don't know if that was like part of it, but
I didn't see no one white dude, to be fair.
All right. Speaking of lack of white people, highlight of the week, Tomohiro Ishii versus Okada for the Continental Championship. I've already talked about it at the beginning. This was my brain massage, my brain spa, my salon trip. This was me and my brain in a jacuzzi with the jets on. This is my Epsom salt soaking. This is like everything that my brain needed. Just watching Okada, everything he does is perfect and beautiful. And if you guys aren't appreciating it, you're just not trying. You're actively not trying. Yeah, brilliant. I need this. I need this. I assume you felt the same way, Jimmy.
This was my favorite thing of the whole week of AEW by far, man. Even though I've seen better between the two of them, it was a short and sweet match, and Okada gets the win as he should. In some ways, it was kind of one-sided, but it was just, I don't know, man. It was the perfect time. It wasn't long. It wasn't extremely short, but it was relatively short.
Yes, because as you mentioned, this was not their best, right? And that's because if it was their best, it would be at a different spot on the card. Because
right,
why
exactly.
is one of the 500 reasons that Okada's a genius? Why is one of those reasons? Is because he works on his spot on the card. If you're going to put me smack in the middle of Collision with another almost 50-year-old guy that I've been up and down the roads with, and we both know everything each other are going to do. We're going to give you the smack dab in the middle of Collision 10 minutes match. We're not going to give you the G1 Climax Finals match. We're going to give you the middle of Collision match. And every other wrestler is generally, and I will, to their credit, not on this show. Like AEW matches lately have been a little bit different than the 15 minutes straight through that we've been seeing since it, launched in 2019, right? Or so like there are matches of varying time lengths on these shows now, so that's good.
That's true.
But even so, even in the shorter matches, the guys are like still a lot of times they're kind of getting their shit in and it doesn't necessarily make sense. And if something's coming up later in the card, they're not taking that into account. So with this match, these guys are like, okay, let's just tell a story. We're going to work hard, but we're not going to give you the main event match. Okada has like 4 matches generally. He's got
these type of matches, right?
multi-man tag goof off match, right? Where he doesn't do anything, but he does like comedy spots and just does little signature moves and stuff like that. Then there's special singles match where you like something like this, where you have like he doesn't do anything bad or anything stupid. Well, he never does anything stupid, but he has this match. This is exactly what he needed to have, a 10-minute match with Ishii in the middle of the Saturday show or whatever. And you get a nice match, but nothing special. Then you have main event Okada, which is like a whole other level than that, in which you're going to get about 25 minutes and the match is going to have great psychology and very exciting spots. And he'll make you think, oh, this guy has a chance of beating me. And then he won't. And then there's main event championship Okada.
Champion. Thank you. I was waiting for that. You're right.
Whether he's challenging or defending, this is where you start getting like the cross bodies over the barricades. You get the German suplexes. You get things that he does that he only does at certain times. But he works one of these matches to its spot on the card, and he does not just get his shit in every time. So that is one of the many, many, many dozens of reasons why he's a genius. And it's weird how some people that have very prominent podcasts can't see that.
Like I said, I'm glad you said it because I was waiting for it. I'm thinking, I hope he says champion Okada, because that's a different level to even the one you said before that, where he still will give you one of the best matches. And you're right, no one brings that up, but you did right here on that.
I could do a podcast series on why Okada's the best. We don't have time for that.
We should do a special on Okada one day. Maybe if these shows get any worse, we can just concentrate on him.
Yeah, it's just Okada wreckage. Well, we have to change the show because everything's getting built up with him. But anyway, so he does the thing now. He goes out, he gets the ring bell blatantly in front of the referee, and the referee's like, "What are you doing? You can't use the belt." And he's like, "Oh, sorry." And then the referee gets rid of the bell and he gives a ripcord kick in the balls to Ishii, hits him with the Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Is Ishii still part of New Japan? At this point?
I think so, but just come over here for an extra payday.
I guess. Why?
Because they're not doing anything right now. Like after Wrestle Kingdom and those shows, they're kind of take a break. So he's trying to get paid.
The New Year's Dash show, did that go down?
Yeah, it already happened. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear nothing about it this time. That's why.
Yeah. We got a promo from Gates of Agony. Remember them?
Yeah, and cool. I guess it was all right. I didn't mind it, but where are we going? They're gonna go nowhere. They're already agonizingly in pain. I mean, come on.
They're going to a match on Dynamite to lose.
That's what
I forget who against, but it's somebody.
Oh, don't even ask me. I can't remember. But you know what? I didn't mind. They actually did well with their little promo in the back. Both of them.
Even though Toa Leone's never spoken before.
Never, man.
Because I think he's supposed to have been a savage that doesn't speak, but he's very eloquent sounding here.
Well, he's Samoan, well, half Puerto Rican too, but still.
Interesting mix. And what is Bishop Khan? Is he like from Cameroon or some crazy place?
Was it Ghana? I think Ghana. It could be Cameroon or Ghana. It's one of them two, guaranteed.
Something.
Not that he sounds like he's from there. So I don't know if that's how true.
But you got a tag. You got a tag team that looks like this, you know, and you're trying to make me look at, you know, like Top Flight. No offense to those guys, but I just think I guess what I'm saying is, like, if you had guys like this and you had Top Flight, and maybe you could try to recreate things like, you know, the Rockers matches from the 80s against bigger opponents, like have them both in there. But instead, we just got these guys off TV for however long. For one of them must have been hurt or something. I don't know. Or are they just only in Ring of Honor? I don't know.
I was going to say, are they still in Ring of Honor? Have they been?
I don't know. Zane Vicious probably knows. He's friends with everybody. So next we get Dustin Rhodes versus Adam Priest, whoever that is.
I thought this was Crash Holly for a minute, back from the dead. R.I.P. to Crash.
Well, he almost died because he got a power slam on his head.
I know. That's bad.
Like, he did not fully rotate that power slam and got spiked in the mat. So now I didn't have time to run it back and see whose fault it was, but I know it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't, man. And did this go too long for a squash match in a way?
Maybe, but
how small was
whatever.
that dude too, man? He was tiny.
Well, it's a strong win for Dustin Rhodes. So whatever's coming up next, whoever he's got to put over next, I don't know. But this guy's a double champion right now. So
double champion that goes to nowhere. Like, it's going to lead to nowhere too.
Yep.
That's the thing, before you continue. AEW is the only company that does squash matches that for nothing. Like, there's no reason they do squash matches. Just because they've got a big match the week after, a la, for example, what's it called, Hobbs.
Yeah.
That's how
Todd Brantley says House of Black is who they're facing. I mean, the ones that are left. That's right. I couldn't remember, but you know, this wasn't even a strong win for Gates of Agony. Instead, they gave the strong win to Dustin, and they gave a promo to Gates of Agony. So that's a little bit interesting on the booking. Let's move along to Dark Julia. Speaking of House of Black, versus Feel the Wrath of Harley Cameron.
I love Harley, but come on.
My note for this match was,
she's just good for looks. That's about it. You know what I mean?
I guess for some people, I'm not sold. I don't like Harley Cameron at all. Not my type at all.
Wow.
Fake tits, flat ass, and she looks like a goblin in the face.
Okay. I'm not saying she's my type, but she's not ugly, obviously.
She looks like a goblin.
Wow. Damn. That's
and the goblin gets put in Heartless and taps out. So there you go. Then we find that Powerhouse Hobbs has been laid out by the Learning Tree, and more specifically Floyd. So
why?
Because
I don't understand why these shit.
Todd Brantley knows why.
Come on, but really, it's a serious question. Why?
Okay, let me answer it then. So, because when we see Hobbs, he can. Well, one time we see Hobbs, he could beat up the entire Death Riders by himself. The next time we see Hobbs in a one-on-one match, he can't beat one of them. And then he gets his leg broken. So now he's already handicapped, and then they re-break his leg with Floyd. And then Bill, just to make sure, takes his knee brace so he can't like just brace his knee again and just walk out there.
Oh, so you can't get another one, you're saying? You can't afford one?
No, there's only one. Can't get another one. He brought one, and the rest were in his car that got broken into, and he can't get any more.
Yawn. God damn it. Again.
So this 12-man extravaganza just became an 11-man extravaganza.
Woo-hoo.
And I will say this, Jimmy, there was some social media chatter about this match. Yes.
Yeah, everyone shat on it before it even happened.
Yes, they were mad when Tony put it out that this match was going to be on Collision people responding to it being like, come on. Like they don't like it.
La
Yeah.
la la la
Yeah.
la la. Doesn't care, man.
Well, he definitely cares. I'm sure his feelings were immediately hurt by each and every comment.
Again, Tony, is this Collision or is this Trio Saturdays or 10-man Saturdays? I'm sick of these multi-man tag team matches, main
12-man
eventing collisions. Yeah, well, that's why I said multi-man.
See, this is what happens. You get a singles match last week, and now your punishment is more men than ever the next week.
Fuck. Why, man?
And we know how Jimmy T loves a lot of men, but
Get
this
me
is
out
not.
of here, please.
Yeah.
I don't mind meat, but this is too much meat for me, bro.
All right. Well, anyway, it's the Outrunners and the Copers versus the Tree and the Riders. They do a match for a while. Nobody's interested. Hobbs limps out toward the end, and he's like, give me the hot tag. Come on. I'm here with one leg. Come on. I'm Spirit of 76. Tag me in, baby. I'll clean house. And then they tag him in, and he cleans house. And then, basically the end of the match is him hitting a spine buster and a pin on a big business bad apple bounty hunter, Brian Bakeith. And the babies are up to end Collision. Everybody's happy. Except those people on social media that complained about the match before they even saw it.
Well, do you blame him? And first of all,
yes. Yes.
I'm sick of the little guys all getting the pins now, dude. The obvious pins. Like, can't we get a strong win at times by some of these guys? Like, couldn't we at least...
Wait.
What?
Lance Archer beat Mark Quinn that time. he could have beat no, not Lance Archer. I'm sorry. The Hurt Syndicate or whatever.
Same shit. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Who's Private Party? Look how big they are, dude. Like, come on.
I'm just saying, they had Mark Briscoe in the match, but they pinned a champion instead. So that's close to what you're asking for.
What a way to put over your belt.
Strong win.
Strong win. No, see, this
Hey,
is
those guys beat the Young Bucks. They are tough. Nobody beats the Young Bucks.
Mind you, the Young Bucks now are the IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team Champions too.
I will not mind that.
Maybe they want out of AEW and they just want to stay in Japan for now. I don't blame them. But no, for real, why can't we ever get a strong win in AEW where the pin goes, on a big guy or like someone that's not small lately with big guys winning? Do you know what I mean? At least the big guys are winning for once. But we're always seeing the obvious, and it happens in WWE too. WWE is guilty of this as well. When there's a three-way match, you know who's there to get the pin and whatnot. But
so what do you think?
Trend.
So what do you think for this one? Should have been Big Bill, Claudio?
Yes. No, Big Bill, because he's not such a big deal to be fair, and he's not a small guy, and it will give the perception like, ooh, Hobbs pinned Big Bill. Like, at least it'll get people sort of talking somewhat. Not me, but you get my drift. But instead, you get Ryan Bakeith getting the loss. Like, come on. Did you really have to pin someone like him? Couldn't we make Hobbs look stronger? He already looks like an idiot after what happened on Wednesday. I mean, am I supposed to think now that Hobbs is like a worry to the Death Riders because he got a win over Keithy? Come on.
Yes.
Whatever.
Please think that.
I guess. Cool. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. I'm a believer now.
Well, I mean, I guess, obviously, who cares in the end? But
that's
it was just that. But I mean, they already they had this match already. It's like, okay, you beat Hobbs, right, on Wednesday. And then, like, the makeup match is on Saturday. It was like, well, at least you get to beat Brian Bakeith on Saturday. Like a consolation prize for losing on Wednesday. So I don't know if that really matters unless they're trying to go back to another match with Hobbs and Moxley. But I think that Moxley already has a lot of arrows aimed at his back as it is, because we still got Christian floating around. We've got Jay White floating around. We've got MJF talking about getting his Triple B back. You know, like there's people that are like talking about it, but they're not. I mean, they're not doing anything interesting with those threads. It's almost like they're leaving it up to the individual talents to remind everybody that they want a shot at the title. And then they're not giving them anything interesting to do on the show regarding those things, or coming up with reasons why they're not getting. It's just like, oh, well, it's like they think, and by they, I probably mean Tony, I guess in this case, would be like, well, let's see, who do I want to face Jon Moxley? Or who does Jon Moxley want to face? I guess could be the question, since he's part of his own creative, right? So you're like, so who does Jon Moxley want to work with? Okay, he wants to work with Hobbs. Well, how do I have Hobbs immediately challenge Jon Moxley? So I guess we'll just have a Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal that he can win, or things like that. He has to come up with backwards ways to get into the match he wants, and it's not ultimately satisfying as a viewer, because everything feels like it's just a stopgap, hurried up solution to whatever.
That's what it is, Vet. That's the thing. That's exactly what it is. They're not hiding it. What other reason would you do that other than that? And that's exactly what they're doing. So yeah, man, like, why am I supposed to take anyone serious? Especially even their championship. I can't even take their belt serious. They didn't even show. It's locked in a briefcase. Cool. Like, when was the last time you actually seen this damn belt, dude? Like, literally. It's been a long time. Not even on pay-per-view we get to see it, dude. Not that I care, but I forget that there's a championship floating around. And, you know, it almost feels like the way they're all wanting this belt, it feels like, you know, Royal Rumble season for AEW, except there's no Royal Rumble. So
yeah, and
also get a shot.
And also with a guy like this, it would make sense if everybody just constantly was trying to kick the shit out of him, because that's what they've been doing to everybody else. And it seems like there's no retribution from the company or the locker room on the Death Riders. And that's the biggest head scratcher thing. It should be on site every time anybody sees any of them.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. And like the Artist Return says, yeah, and had a chance with Hobbs to reinvent AEW, but didn't. They don't want no one to reinvent AEW. Only Tony wants to reinvent AEW in the way he sees fit. And in his own mind, he thinks he's putting on banger after banger show. Except this week in AEW has got to be one of the worst weeks for like, not just 2025, obviously, because we're still in January. But no shit, even though this is possibly the worst week of 2024 if it was done in 2024. That's how bad I felt this week was, dude.
Well, you know what the best part of this week is, Jimmy?
Okada. Or that we do the show.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's over. That's the best part.
I was going to say that initially.
So it's over.
Say that.
So with that being said,
we done?
I think we should let everyone go. You are now free to move about the country.
Oh, boy. I'm glad to go to sleep after watching this atrocious crap. So in saying that, Vet, tell them what you're doing and what you're up to, man.
At Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms. You can catch me every Monday for the Impact Attack with Brandon at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, live smack dab in the middle of Raw. Just stop watching Raw, push pause on Netflix, and come over and watch us instead. And, of course, he'll be doing a watch-along right up until that. So if you want to join him early, do that.
And he continues, Vet, right after your show.
That's right. He continues right where he left off. And then,
right.
You know, it's going to be a big Impact Attack because we got to talk about TNA Genesis, which is on as we record this later tonight. So we'll be talking about the Go Home episode and Genesis. So for all your TNA news, or even if you're not a TNA fan, come and hang out. We'll make it interesting. If you want to check out NXT news and their continued partnership with TNA is relevant, you're going to talk about the Next Level Wrestling review of myself and Big Ray Hernandez every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, live if you want to. And just like that show, Impact Attack, every show on HMG channel, don't forget, our channel is now monetized. So we're not going to have our hands out panhandling, but if you guys find it in the goodness of your hearts to let us know how much you appreciate things, we will not turn you away. We will not stop you. So don't feel pressured. Don't feel guilty. But just letting you know it's there. That's hopefully we can make a couple bucks off of this YouTube channel for all the hard work. That's right. We're the CEOs now, artists. So just a reminder, and check out other monetized channels such as Wrestling with Rip Rogers, which is live every Friday at their concrete time of noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm a Rip Rogers guy, and you can find out what Rip Rogers knows, just like I did firsthand, by asking him questions. Q&A with Rip Rogers. You could test the waters with the free one, or you could guarantee it with a paid one. But no matter what, it's questions galore every Friday. And also every Friday, the Stevie Richards Show drops a new episode. So this past week, he did another show about video games, which is very interesting. As always, Stevie's got the most unique content, most professionally produced wrestling content in the world. I may be the best in the world, but I think Stevie's got the best show in the world. So I think it's very fitting, that we have that connection there. But that's just about it for me, Jimmy. What do you got going on?
Well, what have I got? If only I had I like a Raw little thing, which I don't. Unfortunately, I can't promote it. But I like a Raw this Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, that is, where me and Big Ray Hernandez talk all things Monday Night Raw on the I Like It Raw podcast, the Raw Review Show podcast, every Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Obviously, the Smack Attack. There it is right there. The new and improved Smack Attack, where we talk all things SmackDown. And this week, RBV is my special guest co-host, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
Right, yeah. So tune into that at 11 a.m.
Got a revolving door over there now, huh?
That's what it is for now, man. Right now, I haven't got a permanent person yet, but for now, I think I like this revolving door thing. I think I'll keep it that way for now. So yeah, it'll be me and RBV this week. But like last week, it was me and the Professor Trabella Vera Cruz on the Smack Attack. And of course, this very show, that Wreckage, with myself and the best in the world, the Vet. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. And I think that's a wrap, Vet. So in saying that, also, like and subscribe right here. And thank you once again for monetizing us, which I don't know how, because we're under 1,000. But YouTube pulled the trigger. So thank you, YouTube, for actually doing that.
Must have been watch hours or something.
Yeah, it must be, yeah, because our numbers have gone up. So we thank you guys for tuning in, week out. And I see a lot of new listeners too tuning in. So thank you. But like I said, keep liking, keep subscribing, and the rest. Also, channelattitude.com with $5. Not only do you get the best, but also the real talking all the pro wrestling. And HamidMediaGroup.podbean.com for all our affiliate shows. And I think that's about it, Vet. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T. That is my co-host, Jamie the Vet Williams. And you've been listening and watching The Wreckage.
The Wreckage.
Right here. Right here on Hamid Media's Group YouTube channel, on the Twitch, and of course at channelattitude.com after the fact. And we're out. Peace.